They thought the dog had become obsessed with the baby. The cardiologist said the dog had been doing their job. It started the first night they brought Jasper home. The Alaskan Malamute, his name was Storm, 110 pounds, gray and white, 4 years old, had met the baby in the car doorway, done his usual thorough inspection of something new, and then followed the family inside. That was expected. What happened next was not. Storm lay down on the couch beside Jasper's bouncy seat. This was allowed. The couch was shared territory. Nothing remarkable. But during the night, Storm repositioned himself 3 times to maintain contact with the seat. Not with Jasper directly. His body pressed against the side of the bouncy seat, the vibration of the motor transmitting between them like a signal. In the morning, Storm was still there. Linnea Breckenridge noticed it the way mothers notice things in the first week home with a newborn. Hazily, imprecisely, in the way that everything is both hypervisible and slightly dreamlike when you haven't slept. She noted that Storm was close to the baby. She noted that Storm seemed interested in the baby. She filed it as, "The dog likes the baby," which is better than the alternative, and moved on to the next thing that needed her attention. By the end of the second week, she couldn't file it anymore. Storm had developed what could only be called a specific behavior. Each evening, during the quiet hour after Jasper's late feed, he would position himself beside the baby, not near the baby, against the baby, with his enormous gray-furred side pressed to Jasper's left side. He would stay there without moving for sometimes an hour. His head would lower, his breathing would slow, and he would press in slightly, as if listening. Linnea mentioned it to her husband, Declan. He said, "He's just being warm." She said, "He's a dog. He doesn't know left from right." She wasn't sure she agreed. At Jasper's 6-week checkup, Dr. Petra Larson, the family's pediatrician, listened to Jasper's heart and stopped. She moved the stethoscope. She listened again. She said, "I'm hearing something. It may be nothing. I want you to see a cardiologist." The appointment with the pediatric cardiologist, Dr. Yusuf Amrani, at the Children's Cardiac Center was 14 days later. The echocardiogram took 40 minutes. Dr. Amrani sat across from Linnea and Declan and showed them the imaging on the screen. Jasper had a small ventricular septal defect, a hole between the 2 lower chambers of the heart, small enough that it had not produced symptoms, small enough that it had not been detected in the newborn screening, small enough that under normal circumstances it might have gone undetected until a routine checkup much later. Some VSDs close on their own. Some require monitoring. Some require intervention, depending on size and location and how they develop. Jasper's defect was in the category that required monitoring beginning immediately. Not surgery, not yet, possibly never, but structured, regular monitoring that would not have been structured or regular if it had not been found. It had been found because Dr. Larson heard something. She had heard something because Linnea had brought Jasper to a 6-week checkup on schedule. She had brought him in on schedule partly because she was a conscientious mother, and partly because she had been quietly escalating her concern about Storm's behavior for 3 weeks and needed someone medical to look at the whole situation. Dr. Amrani listened to the full description of Storm's behavior, the left side positioning, the pressing, the listening posture. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Dogs hear in ranges humans don't. A small VSD produces a turbulent sound, a murmur, at frequencies and intensities that are at the edge of human hearing with a stethoscope and well within canine hearing range in a quiet room." He looked at them. "He was lying beside your son's left chest wall every evening. He was doing exactly what I did this morning with a stethoscope. Has your dog ever positioned himself in a specific way around your baby, not randomly, but consistently, at the same side, in the same location, in a way you couldn't explain? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Jasper is 8 months old. His VSD remains small and is being monitored quarterly. His most recent imaging shows it is not enlarging. The prognosis, Dr. Amrani said at the last appointment, is excellent. Storm still presses himself against Jasper's left side in the evenings. Linnea stopped trying to redirect him weeks ago. He stays until the house goes quiet and then goes to his own space by the back door. He is listening. He is not going to stop. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one.